Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a Thursday here on Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show. Let me know what you thought about yesterday's episode as we did that deep dive into the further chaos of coalition politics in this country. Make sure you check out that video, of course, in yesterday's Vuka Nazo. Boop, there it is over there. Make sure you check that out. But hey, where are my manners? My name is Usihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. This is Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show. Now, do me a favor, if you're watching this simulcast either on Facebook or YouTube, hit that like button. That's right, smash that like button. Help me grow my audience. The likes help do exactly that. They grow our reach. And if you're watching on YouTube in particular, an even bigger favor by you is to subscribe. Join the over 38,000 people who are now subscribers on the Big Daddy Liberty channel on YouTube. Help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Remember, we also have a website. Find us, of course, at bigdaddyliberty.com, especially if you want to contribute 100 Rand a month towards the show. It's your support that keeps us going. Now, enough with that jibber jabber. How about we get straight into the news? All right, we begin here this morning with a warning from me, a big warning from me.
Listen properly.
Do not trust any politician who calls for giving themselves more expanded and unfettered powers by way of a state of disaster or a state of emergency. Have you not learned the lesson, dear South African, of what these filthy politicians, hashtag politicians are trash, what these filthy politicians do when they give themselves state of disaster type powers? Do I not have to remind you of some of the nonsense that happened under the COVID grift, of exactly what happens when this government, and indeed any politician, gives himself unfettered powers? Well, if you need a reminder, here it is. These are some of the things they did when they gave themselves wide powers of state of disaster emergency powers.
When we come in, we scope and down.
Go! Go, go!
More than 2,000 people opposed it.
Because it makes no sense from a health perspective. Like many of the other regulations, they are irrational and unreasonable.
None of this makes any sense, because what's happening now is this government is f***ing with South African families, and you touch South African families, you touch me.
Government has to a large extent run out of money.
Yes, that's right. I had to refresh your memory as to how evil and lugubrious things became when politicians gave themselves those expanded state of disaster powers in the name, of course, of dealing with the spicy cough. Yeah, that dribble. Well, politicians, especially the ANC, are looking for round two of those state of disaster powers, giving themselves those powers, that is, this time to deal with the energy crisis. Yes, that's right, the self-created or ANC-created energy crisis. Now they're looking to give themselves these powers once again, presumably, if we learned anything from the COVID grift, presumably to literally fleece more money. You'll remember the over 500 billion rand of government money that was reshifted, rejigged, and effectively disappeared into the ether after, of course, they claimed that money will be used to deal with the spicy cough. Well, you can imagine, with Eskom being a juicy, lucrative opportunity for them as politicians, that another state of disaster, this time to deal with Eskom and load shedding, will be another opportunity to steal resources and another opportunity to expand powers for themselves as politicians. I will say this again, as I always do. Politicians are trash. Hashtag politicians are trash. Stop believing that these people will deal with the issues and the crisis that they created. And believe me when I say this, and I want to play a quick video clip, because of course it's the ANC who are coming up with this idea after they effectively proposed it at their recent meeting, or lekgotla as they like to call them. This is the president of the ANC basically speaking about how they want to implement the state of disaster.
There was talk about declaration of a national state of disaster, like what we did when we faced COVID-19, and there's broad agreement that we should move in that direction.
But it isn't just the ANC, by the way, who are looking for these expanded powers and who make asinine proposals of giving politicians these expanded powers. Because they have goldfish memories, the DA also had called for a state of disaster for load shedding, albeit they said, oh, we'll ring fence it only to deal with energy. Watch this John Steenhuisen basically make that very proposal.
There are a number of additional steps which the DA has already called for on numerous occasions that still need to be put in place. If these had been heeded and implemented years ago, we would not be sitting in the crisis that we're sitting in today. The first of these is the immediate declaration of a ring-fenced state of disaster around Eskom and our electricity supply. This will allow for the circumvention of the current stifling web of legislation that prevents the acquisition of additional power from independent power producers.
Yes, that's right. Even the DA coming up with that asinine approach. And why? Because the DA are statists like any other politicians. They too, in places where they govern, enjoyed those wide state powers that they gave themselves. The Western Cape was no different to the rest of the country during the spicy cough era when they had those state of disaster powers. They implemented it just like the ANC did. So please, spare me any arguments about, oh, but my politicians are better, oh, those politicians are better. Politicians are trash. Hashtag politicians are trash. Stop giving them these wide powers, which is always an excuse for them to punish and harm you, the faith, flag, family, and freedom type South African. It is time we limit the power of politicians, period, in this country. Don't give them special concessions under disasters or special concessions under emergencies. Otherwise, we'll have a repeat of history where South Africa will lurch from one state of disaster or state of emergency to the next. Those of us who are old enough to have remembered the apartheid days will remember that. And life under that situation back then was not good, just as it will not be good and is not good right now with the current crop of politicians who want more and more power. All right, now I take you to KwaZulu-Natal, where the ugly face of looting has reared its face again. Indeed, this time I take you to the King Echayo area on the R66. Now, you've probably seen some videos go viral on social media of this particular incident where a farmer who, upon stumbling or arriving rather at his truck, which for whatever reason had either broken down or at the side of the road or was impeded from going forward on that particular road. The stories are conflicting as to why the truck was on the side of the road. Whatever the reasons for the truck being stuck on the side of the road or impeded on the side of the road, people in the area then took it upon themselves to be thieves, to loot, to steal, to pillage, to do the very things that are not indicative and shouldn't be a characteristic of a functioning democracy. It is a disgusting behavior which has not only stemmed from the 2021 July looting and riots, but it has been something that it characterizes mass gatherings or protests or whatever the case may be generally in this country. It is a symbol, a strong, palpable and very visible symbol of the decay of the rule of law, the decay of law enforcement in this country. Where were the police? Why did it have to be a situation where the owner of the truck got there before the police did? It does not make sense. Watch this video to see this farmer effectively stumble on the scene and express his disbelief and indeed anger at what he was seeing.
Look at him, look at him, look at him, look at him. Fucking rubbish. Here we go. There's our driver sitting. Here's the cars just loading up, loading up. Check out all of these rubbishes. Pulling it through the coal, through the sand. Look at them. This car's full inside. Full of meat. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Chaos.
Yeah, and I agree with that farmer, by the way. I fully agree with that farmer's sentiments that those are rubbishes. Those are rubbish individuals doing that. And there should be no excuses, as we've seen on social media with some people defending these actions and saying, oh, but it's hungry, poor people, they say. Or, what's the harm of stealing from that truck on the side of the road? That is an absolute nonsense thing to say. And it is indicative of people who, when they say that, are themselves rubbishes doing that. Now, you'd think that's the worst of it, but oh, no, it gets even worse. Part of the individuals looting allegedly at that particular scene was a official branded vehicle of the Doctors Without Borders organization, or MSF, I think is their acronym because it's a French word. The driver of this vehicle was confronted by the farmer, and he shows us the fact that this vehicle, a branded vehicle of Doctors Without Borders, literally having in the back of the bakkie the stolen meat from his truck. Watch this.
Man, what do you think they're giving it away for free? I don't know what's going on here. Hey man, I'd love a nice photo with you. Yeah, here's my man. Yeah, we're stealing meat. Look here. Look here. Hey, nice, my man. I appreciate you. I'm not. This is the problem with this country. Oh, but you are driving the stolen goods, so it's the same thing, man. Oh, nyabong. Oh, sisi. Oh, nyabong, sis. Hey, don't be scared, man. Ha, bullshit, man. These fucking oaks. Hi, Kulega, Tata, take it. Huh? Nice one, guys. Look at them, fucking hungry. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. Can you believe that? Can you absolutely believe those images? And what was that guy even thinking? It's just asinine, stupid behavior. And you'd expect someone like that to be at least in the know, especially if you consider back to the July riots, that the Mercedes-Benz looter, if you remember that incident, that chap who was effectively busted by another resident who recorded him looting a Woolworths in the Glenwood area and then proceeding to load a Mercedes-Benz with that looted goods. And let me remind you of just exactly what happened to that particular looter, the Mercedes-Benz looter as he came to be called, the guy who stuffed his vehicle after looting a Woolies in Glenwood during the July riots. That individual was prosecuted to the full extent of the law, including, by the way, the courts granting a forfeiture order for that R500,000 Mercedes-Benz. So he risks losing that vehicle too. So you can imagine, of course, that the Doctors Without Borders driver would have learned the lesson, but no, he hasn't. And now he's going to face the full might of the law as he's set to appear in the Melmoth court on charges, of course, of looting and theft, amongst other things. Let me quickly read from this independent piece which gave context on this. And listen to how Medicine Without Borders, or Doctors Without Borders, responded to this. It's such an asinine response from this organization. Now, as I mentioned, a Doctors Without Borders MSF staffer caught allegedly stealing meat from a truck in KwaZulu-Natal is set to appear in the Melmoth Magistrates Court on theft-related charges. Now, MSF itself has responded and said the following. An on-duty MSF staff member driving a marked vehicle was delivering medical supplies in the area at the time of the incident. Now, MSF's own preliminary investigation revealed that the meat was put in the back of the MSF vehicle and that the alleged looters attempted to pressure the MSF driver into assisting them, which the staff member refused to do, it said. End of quote. Oh! You know, people, often on social media, I have a popular hashtag that says, hashtag don't be dribbled. MSF was clearly dribbled because this preliminary investigation clearly was just them asking the driver what happened. And of course the driver will spin a story about what allegedly happened on the day. A story, of course, which to the best of what will be his ability, try and absolve himself. Of course he'll say, oh, the meter just placed in the back of the buggy. What's that? What was I doing stopping by the side of a looting incident? Well, I just, I thought I would have a look at the wonderful scenes of the rubbishes stealing that meat from the... Oh, come on, man. Come on. Let's not play these games, MSF. Accountability is super important, both as an organization and, of course, the law of the country playing its role in this particular case. In this case, this organization actually needs to discipline the staff member and actually sets a strong precedent that theft by anybody, let alone an employee, in a marked vehicle should never be tolerated. That, of course, should be at the organizational level. And, of course, at the rule of law, at the country level, the courts need to continue displaying a very strong response to this kind of behavior, because if it doesn't, the very edifice of the rule of law will collapse. And that society is one which I, and I'm sure you, would never want to live in. And let me take a moment to actually hit back at those dumbass individuals who online have been defending this nonsense. You might not have seen these individuals, so let me just show you one. Here's a tweet by Andile Mqitama, the useless communist dumbass leader of BLF, or Black Land First, whatever that nonsense party is. Here's a tweet he put up defending these actions and doing it in the usual predictable way of, oh, this is black people reclaiming their land and reclaiming their cows and all that other nonsense that you often hear leftists in this country, especially black leftists, those leftists who trade on being black. This is the sort of nonsense you hear them say about these incidents and others. And I must say this, it is a disgusting, asinine, and self-hating thing to say, because what these people are basically saying is black people, by virtue of them being black, are inherently thieves and are inherently the kinds of people who have no morals, who, if they see something that doesn't belong to theirs, would take it. That's effectively what Andile Mqitama is saying in this. It is a self-hating statement, and it's the kind of thing that we actually need to call out and say, no, Andile Mqitama, no, you black leftists, people who trade on being black and think own black people and black ideas. It is absolutely wrong, and no black person, indeed no South African, should be doing this kind of thing. The law is the law. There is right from wrong, and regardless of your skin color, we should be the kind of society that upholds the rule of law and being a society which is sober, sane, moral, prudent type people who don't do this kind of thing. It looks like someone might be a contender for Mumish of the Week. All right, that's it from me from this episode of Vuka Nazo. Let me know what you think about any of the stories in the comment section. I do try and respond to a lot of those. Here's the thing. If you like how I begin your news day, then you'll love our friends over at the Daily Friend. They'll help you wrap up your news day Mondays to Thursday at 1:30 p.m. live. That's dailyfriend.co.za. Now, with that being said, on your way out, please hit that like button if you haven't done so. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to the Big Daddy Liberty channel. And visit our website, please, bigdaddyliberty.com. With that being said, thanks for watching. This is the Thursday edition. I'll see you tomorrow, Friday, bright and early, for another episode of Vuka Nazo.